Sometimes I sit back and think about how crazy it is that after all these years, certain stories and certain people just keep coming back around no matter how much time passes. And one of those people is Ray J. You'd think by now that chapter would be closed, that all the drama with the Kardashians would have been left in the past, but here we are again, and somehow it's even bigger, even messier, and even more dangerous than before. And the wild part is, the Kardashians have been in scandals for over a decade. They've been dragged for everything under the sun, and they usually let people talk, because they know the media cycle moves fast and eventually the story fades. But this time, they're not letting it go. This time, they've drawn a line in the sand, and honestly, that says a lot. Because Kim and Kris have finally decided to sue Ray J, and when I tell you that's a first for them, I mean it. Because after years of headlines and rumors and false accusations, this is literally the first time they've actually gone to court over defamation. So that alone should tell you how much this one really hit them. Now, let's be real here, Ray J isn't exactly new to stirring the pot. This is the same man who's been bringing up the past with Kim for years, and it all goes back to that tape that pretty much launched Kim into superstardom. Ray J has always claimed that Kris Jenner was involved, that the whole thing was set up and sold with the family's knowledge, and every time he says it, it reopens that wound. It reminds people of the origin of the Kardashian empire, and it makes them look shady. The Kardashians, of course, deny it, but the rumor has lived for so long that people still believe there's some truth there. And that's the thing about Ray J. He knows what buttons to push. He knows exactly what to bring up that will damage them. And now he's taken it to an entirely different level by throwing around words like RICO and federal investigation. And if you know anything about the legal system, you know that's not something you just casually say about someone without evidence. Because it's not just gossip at that point, it's accusing someone of being involved in organized crime. Ray J basically hinted that the Kardashians were paying off victims and covering up crimes to keep themselves safe. And he doubled down during a live stream, saying that a federal case against Kim and Kris was about to be dropped. And I don't care how famous you are, how untouchable you think you are. When someone says that kind of thing, it hits your reputation hard. Imagine building billion-dollar businesses like Skims, pushing into new industries like law and acting, trying to brand yourself as a mogul and role model. And at the same time, there are viral clips of Ray J telling the world you're part of a criminal enterprise. That's devastating. And the Kardashians know if they let that kind of rumor sit in the air without fighting back, it could snowball. And here's the thing too, the Kardashians hired Alex Spiro, and if you don't know who that is, he's a top-tier attorney. The kind of lawyer who's not just handling random lawsuits, but representing major celebrities like Jay-Z. That shows you exactly how seriously they're taking this. They're not just throwing a standard lawyer at the case, they're bringing out the big guns. And Spiro even said in a statement that normally Kim and Kris just ignore things, but this time it was too false and too damaging to ignore. So clearly they've reached a point where it's no longer about brushing it off, it's about drawing a boundary and saying enough. Now from Ray J's side, he's acting like he doesn't care, like he can't be silenced anymore. He even said straight up that he can't take hush money, that he won't take the disrespect, and it kind of feels like he's trying to position himself as the guy who's willing to say what nobody else will, like he's exposing the truth about this powerful family. But when you look closer, you also see this pattern of him making claims that don't hold up. Like remember when he said he hooked up with rapper Sexy Red? She came out immediately, called him a liar, exposed the screenshots, and he had to backpedal and apologize. And that wasn't some small mistake, that was a blatant lie, and he admitted he was trolling. Stuff like that makes it hard to take him seriously, because if you're known to just make stuff up for attention, then how are people supposed to believe you when you suddenly say the Kardashians are under federal investigation? And what makes this whole thing even crazier is the timing, because all of this is happening while the Kardashians are getting ready to release a new season of their show. And in the trailer, Kim literally says someone close to her put a hit out on her. Now when she said that, people lost it. The internet was immediately trying to figure out who she was talking about, and names started flying everywhere. Some people pointed at Kanye because of their rocky history. Some people brought up Larsa Pippen, others joked about Jonathan Shaban, even Mason's name was thrown in the mix. But then people remembered that Kanye himself once posted that Kim accused him of putting a hit on her, so suddenly everyone's connecting dots, wondering if this is tied to him. It's wild how these storylines from their personal lives end up mirroring things that are happening in real time, almost like the drama never stops, it just shifts. Meanwhile, Ray J's career feels like it's been in this weird limbo. He's not the hot artist he once was, he's not really dominating TV, he's just kind of floating between platforms, doing streams, popping up on reality shows, going viral for random antics, but not really establishing anything solid. Like, on Kai-Cenat's stream, he ended up in the shower on camera and people were like, what is going on? Then there were the allegations from Dessa Frost that Ray J acted inappropriately, that he was basically aroused the whole time during their streamathon, and whether that's true or not, the perception it created was terrible. People were commenting that it was weird, that Dessa looked uncomfortable, and that kind of thing doesn't just disappear, it sticks to your reputation. When you add that to everything else, the trolling, the lies, the wild claims, it paints a picture of someone who's spiraling, who doesn't have a clear path and is just trying to grab attention however he can. And yet, Ray J is doubling down, saying he won't stop, saying he refuses to be silenced, even going as far as accusing the Kardashians of trying to kill the black community. Like, those are some heavy words, and whether you believe him or not, it makes you wonder what his end goal really is. Is he trying to bring them down? Is he trying to stay relevant? Is he just bitter after all these years? Or does he genuinely believe he's exposing something the public needs to know? Because the line between truth and defamation here is razor thin, and the courts are going to have to figure out which side this really falls on. The public, of course, is split. Some people think Ray J has been telling the truth since day one, that he's been painted as the bad guy while the Kardashians played the victim and built an empire. Others think he's bitter, clout chasing and throwing out dangerous lies just to get his name trending again. And all of this is happening right after Diddy got sentenced to 4 years in prison on trafficking and RICO charges. So naturally people are making connections, even if there's no evidence, because that's how public perception works. Once you mention RICO and feds in the same sentence as a celebrity, people will run with it, and that's exactly what the Kardashians are trying to stop. So here's where we're at. You've got the Kardashians, who have more money, power and influence than most people could ever dream of, and they're using that power to protect their reputation. And on the other side, you've got Ray J, who doesn't have that same kind of empire but has a voice and a platform, and he's choosing to use it to throw shots at them no matter the risk. It's like David versus Goliath, except in this case, David might actually be his own worst enemy, because the more he talks, the more he opens himself up to legal trouble. But what makes this fascinating is that both sides kind of need each other. The Kardashians' brand thrives on drama, even when it's negative, because it keeps them relevant, and Ray J's name only trends when he's attached to theirs. It's this toxic cycle where neither of them can completely walk away, and every time it quiets down, something new happens to stir it up again. And that's why I don't think this is the last we're going to hear about it. The lawsuit might play out, maybe Ray J has to pay, maybe he doesn't, but the tension will stay, because the history between them is too deep, and the stakes are too high for it to just disappear. At the end of the day, it really comes down to one question. Is Ray J finally exposing the truth about the most famous family in reality TV? Or is he just another guy shouting into the void trying to hold on to his last bit of relevance? That's something each of us has to decide, because no matter which way you lean, this drama is far from over, and the way it's heading, it feels like we're only seeing the beginning of a much bigger storm.